page only from this book. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyaṃpi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyaṃpi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyaṃpi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Pānāti pātā vēramaṇī sikkhapaдаṃ samādhiyāmi. Adinādānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu Miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Surāmeraya majjapamā datthānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadaṃ samādhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We will begin some meditation. Please welcome yourself to this shrine room where we observe silence and make minimum noise during this meditation session. Take a deep breath in and release. Continue breathing in, breathing out naturally. Scanning your body as you breathe in and breathe out. Your forehead, your facial expressions, the back of your head, your neck aligned with your back and making a straight line so that you feel comfortable to sit longer without having any pains. Your shoulders relaxed. Your arms, your palms and fingers also relaxed. Your chest, your abdomen, waist area, your thighs and knees, shin bones, ankles and soles of your feet ending with toes, completely comfortable. Guiding yourself inwardly, you observe what is moving in your body. Usually that is, you're inhaling and exhaling, and you don't have to do anything about that. With wise awareness on what comes and goes in your mental experience, preventing unwholesome things from arising. To cultivate wholesome things, you begin with mindfulness. Mindfulness on this experience, allowing everything to become stilled. To focus, you just use your inhaling and exhaling until you can focus on a relaxed experience mentally and physically. In other words, until you can focus on samadhi, stillness. the mind gets dull, you don't sit on it indulging, you focus on arousing energy, an awakening factor of energy, to keep you focused on wholesome factors. Did you get one of the prints? It's there. So this is also from the Vinaya. Vinaya refers to the code of discipline for monks, and you find some precious gem-like stories in Vinaya. And as we started our discussion 2 weeks ago on Vinaya, I thought we can also share this story, the story called The Story of Prince Dīghāyu. When I first learned it, I was I think in 6th grade in Sunday school. For Buddhists, we have something called Sunday schools in Sri Lanka. I may have told you before. And in one of the lessons, this story came, not the whole thing, but a particular statement of the parents involved in this story, like son, be far-sighted. That's his advice, and the moment that this advice was given was intolerable, but he had to be far-sighted, and in the end he reached a compromising situation, and that's a story you will find at the end, but we are going to read it together. Dīghāyu means someone who has a long life. In the case of this man, the prince, he could have been killed easily by the king if his identity was revealed. And when I learned the lesson in 6th grade, I saw this illustration, the drawing about, two people yoked together, their hands tied to their back, and taking them to the place where they were slaughtered. So it's a story of murder too. But I think I was wondering about how and why the Buddha was interested in a story like this, and why he shared something like this to the monks. We will find out, but what I think about the story is that it's about making peace with your mind and with people around you, even in the most difficult situations. That is one thing we will learn here. But think about how this can teach you a lesson in the end, even in your life situations. Myself as a monk and you as lay people, you will come across difficult situations like this. Hopefully not in this life, but if you have the message in you, who knows, where you are headed, and accordingly you will face difficult situations. All right, shall we read? This is from Mahavagga. Once monks in Varanasi, Brahmadatta was the king of Kāsi, rich, prosperous, with many possessions, many troops, many vehicles, many territories, with fully stocked armories and granaries. Dighīti was the king of Kosala, poor, not very prosperous, with few possessions, few troops, few vehicles, few territories, with poorly stocked armories and granaries. So two regions, one is Varanasi, the other is Kosala. King of Kosala and king of Varanasi. Who was the richest? The king of Varanasi. The poorest? The king of Kosala. So the name of the king of Varanasi is Brahmadatta, a common name you find in many stories. The king Brahmadatta was ruling in so and so period. So I think it's just a name that they used to identify a ruler, but that's not important. Let's read more. So Brahmadatta, the king of Kāsi, raising a fourfold army, marched against Dighīti, the king of Kosala. Dighīti, the king of Kosala, heard Brahmadatta, the king of Kāsi, they say, has raised a fourfold army and is marching against me. Then the thought occurred to him, King Brahmadatta is rich, prosperous, with fully stocked armories and granaries, whereas I am poor, with poorly stocked armories and granaries. I am not competent to stand against even one attack by him. Why don't I slip out of the city beforehand? So taking his chief consort, he slipped out of the city beforehand. Then King Brahmadatta, conquering the troops, vehicles, lands, armories and granaries of King Dighīti, lived in lordship over them. So Brahmadatta has now taken over. I'm not sure if killing was involved or if everyone surrendered. The story doesn't tell. And sometimes you may also judge this king who fled, thinking that he did not fight for his kingdom, he did not protect his subjects. But let's see what happens after. Meanwhile, King Dighīti had set out for Varanasi together with his consort, and travelling by stages arrived there. Wrong place to go, right? Why did he march? Why did he go towards Varanasi? That's where his enemy came from. There he lived with her on the outskirts of Varanasi in a potter's house, disguised as a wanderer. Like wanderer is someone like a monk. Maybe he shaved his head and beard and put on some, like as a king he doesn't put on the rich looking garments, but something like a robe. So then he doesn't maybe he didn't have much money or anything, so he had to beg for food. That's why he also lived in a potter's house. Usually those are places even the Buddhist monks went and spent the night sometimes. That monks did not have temples built at that time, so they would go and ask permission from the owner of the potter house and spend the night there, because for drying of these pots they had to build a shelter. So that was a simple place for these monks to go and take some rest at night. Not long afterwards, she became pregnant. She had a pregnancy wish of this sort, very dangerous one. She wanted to see a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, standing on a parade ground at dawn, and to drink the water used for washing the swords. Very bizarre wish. And you know why that wish came later on. She said to King Dighīti, Your Majesty, I am pregnant, and I have a pregnancy wish of this sort. I want to see a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, standing on a parade ground at dawn, and to drink the water used for washing the swords. He said, My queen, where is there for us fallen on hard times a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, standing on a parade ground, and water used for washing the swords? If I don't get this, Your Majesty, I will die. This baby must be special. Now at that time, the Brahmin advisor to King Brahmadatta was a friend of King Dighīti. It's good to have friends. So King Dighīti went to him and on arrival said, A lady friend of yours, old friend, is pregnant, and she has a pregnancy wish of this sort. She wants to see a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, standing on a parade ground at dawn, and to drink the water used for washing the swords. In that case, let me see her. Well, they are friends. So he goes to see, Oh, let me see her. Maybe she comes to see him. So King Dighīti's consort went to King Brahmadatta's Brahmin advisor. When he saw her coming from afar, he rose from his seat, arranged his robe over one shoulder, and with his hands raised in salutation to her, like this, exclaimed 3 times, "Surely the king of Kosala has come to your womb. Surely the king of Kosala has come to your womb." So, looks like Kosala was his kingdom, and maybe the previous king died, and now this is the Buddhist concept of rebirth, and he was born again in the queen's womb, that he wants to be a ruler again. So and the story unfolds, we will find out. "Don't be worried, my queen, you will get to see a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, standing on a parade ground at dawn, and to drink the water used for washing the swords." See, it's great to have friends. Let's read more. Then he went to King Brahmadatta, and on arrival said to him, "Your Majesty, signs have appeared such that tomorrow at dawn a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, should stand on a parade ground, and that the swords should be washed." Just a simple wish. He doesn't say why or anything, he just say this should be done. So King Brahmadatta ordered his people, "I say then, do as the Brahmin advisor says." Thus King Dighīti's chief consort got to see a fourfold army, armed and arrayed, standing on the parade ground at dawn, and got to drink the water used for washing the swords. Then, with the maturing of the fetus, she gave birth to a son, whom they named Dīghāyu, long life. Not long afterwards, Prince Dīghāyu reached the age of discretion, that now he is matured. The thought occurred to King Dighīti, "This King Brahmadatta of Kāsi has done us great harm. He has seized our troops, vehicles, lands, armories, and granaries. If he finds out about us, he will have all 3 of us killed. Why don't I send Prince Dīghāyu to live outside of the city?" So Prince Dīghāyu, having gone to live outside of the city, learned all the crafts. Now at that time King Dighīti's barber had gone over to King Brahmadatta. He saw King Dighīti together with his consort, living on the outskirts of Varanasi, in a potter's house, disguised as a wanderer. On seeing them, he went to King Brahmadatta, and on arrival said to him, "Your Majesty, King Dighīti of Kosala, together with his consort, is living on the outskirts of Varanasi, in a potter's house, disguised as a wanderer." So this barber was working for King Brahmadatta. Apparently, many people who may have worked for the king of Kosala before may now be working for king of Brahmadatta, because now they are all under this big king. So King Brahmadatta ordered his people, "I say then, go fetch King Dighīti together with his consort." Responding, "As you say, Your Majesty," they went and fetched King Dighīti together with his consort. So as they anticipated, this thing happened. Then King Brahmadatta ordered his people, "I say then, having bound King Dighīti and his consort with a stout rope with their arms pinned tightly against their backs, and having shaved them bald, marched them to a harsh sounding drum from street to street, crossroads to crossroads, evict them out the south gate of the city, and there, to the south of the city, cut them into 4 pieces and bury them in holes placed in the 4 directions." Well, otherwise, if they don't do this, their victory is not, complete. So, the victory of Varanasi king, Brahmadatta, is not completed. So, and there can be conspiracies, and finally he can make a big army and then go against the king of Brahmadatta. So he didn't want that to happen, so he ordered them to be murdered. Responding, "As you say, your majesty," the king's people bound King Dighīti and his consort with a stout rope, pinning their arms tightly against their backs, shaved them bald, and marched them to a harsh-sounding drum from street to street, crossroads to crossroads. Then the thought occurred to Prince Dīghāyu, "It's been a long time since I saw my mother and father. What if I were to go see them?" So he entered Varanasi and saw his mother and father bound with a stout rope, their arms pinned tightly against their backs, their heads shaven bald, being marched to a harsh-sounding drum from street to street, crossroads to crossroads. So he went to them. King Dighīti saw Prince Dīghāyu coming from afar, and on seeing him said, "Don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted." So this is what I remembered from grade 6. Putta dura balanna, langa no balanna. Do you remember this story? No. Did you go to Sunday school? Okay. So this thing, "Don't, my dear Dīghāyu." So people don't know who Dīghāyu is, but this father can recognize this. "Don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted, for vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. So don't take revenge. So it's only by non-vengeance it is settled." When this was said, the people said to him, "This king Dighīti has gone crazy. He is talking nonsense. Who is Dīghāyu? Why is he saying, 'Don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted'? For vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance." So why is he saying that? Let's read more. "I'm not crazy or talking nonsense. He who knows will understand." I wish he didn't say that, but because that could have put him in more trouble. But fortunately it did not. Then a third time he said, "Don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted, for vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance." A third time the people said to him, "This king Dighīti has gone crazy. He is talking nonsense. Who is Dīghāyu? Why is he saying, 'Don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted, for vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance.' I'm not crazy or talking nonsense. He who knows will understand." Then the king's people, having marched King Dighīti together with his chief consort to a harsh-sounding drum from street to street, crossroads to crossroads, evicted them out the south gate of the city, and there, to the south of the city, cut them into 4 pieces, buried them in holes placed in the 4 directions, stationed guards, and left. Then Prince Dīghāyu, having entered Varanasi, brought out some liquor and got the guards to drink it. When they had fallen down drunk, he collected sticks, made a pyre, raised the bodies of his mother and father onto the pyre, set fire to it, and then circumambulated it 3 times with his hands raised in salutation. Now at that time King Brahmadatta had gone up to the terrace on top of his palace. He saw Prince Dīghāyu circumambulating the pyre 3 times with his hands raised in salutation, and on seeing him the thought occurred to him, Doubtlessly, this person is a relative or blood kinsman of King Dighīti. Ah, how unfortunate for me, for there is no one who will tell me what this means. Then Prince Dīghāyu, having gone into the wilderness and having cried and wept as much as he needed to, dried his tears and entered Varanasi. Going to an elephant stable next to the king's palace, he said to the chief elephant trainer, "Teacher, I want to learn this craft." "In that case, young man, you may learn it." Easy, right? Then, rising in the last watch of the night, Prince Dīghāyu sang in a sweet voice and played the lute in the elephant stable. King Brahmadatta, also rising in the last watch of the night, heard the sweet-voiced singing and lute playing in the elephant stable. On hearing it, he asked his people, "I say, who was that rising in the last watch of night, singing in a sweet voice and playing a lute in the elephant stable?" "Your Majesty, a young man, the student of such and such an elephant trainer, rising in the last watch of the night, was singing in a sweet voice and playing a lute in the elephant stable." "I say then, go fetch that young man." Responding, "As you say, Your Majesty," they went and fetched Prince Dīghāyu. Then King Brahmadatta said to Prince Dīghāyu, "I say, was that you rising in the last watch of the night, singing in a sweet voice and playing a lute in the elephant stable?" "Yes, Your Majesty." "I say then, my young man, sing and play the lute." Responding, "As you say, Your Majesty," and seeking to win favor, Prince Dīghāyu sang with a sweet voice and played the lute. Then King Brahmadatta said to him, "I say, you, my young man, are to stay and attend to me." Good approach. King approved. "As you say, Your Majesty," Prince Dīghāyu replied. Then he rose in the morning before King Brahmadatta, went to bed in the evening after him, did whatever the king ordered, always acting to please him, speaking politely to him. And it was not long before King Brahmadatta placed the prince close to him in a position of trust. Then one day King Brahmadatta said to Prince Dīghāyu, "I say then, my young man, harness the chariot, I am going hunting." Responding, "As you say, Your Majesty," Prince Dīghāyu harnessed the chariot and then said to King Brahmadatta, "Your chariot is harnessed, Your Majesty. Now is the time for you to do as you see fit." Then King Brahmadatta mounted the chariot and Prince Dīghāyu drove it. He drove it in such a way that the king's entourage went one way and the chariot another. Then, after they had gone far, King Brahmadatta said to Prince Dīghāyu, "I say then, my young man, harness the chariot. I am tired. I am going to lie down." Responding, "As you say, Your Majesty," Prince Dīghāyu unharnessed the chariot and sat down cross-legged on the ground. Then King Brahmadatta lay down, placing his head on Prince Dīghāyu's lap. Oh, so close. As he was tired, he went to sleep right away. Then the thought occurred to Prince Dīghāyu, "This King Brahmadatta of Kāsi has done us great harm. He has seized our troops, vehicles, lands, armories, and granaries. And it was because of him that my mother and father were killed. Now is my chance to wreak vengeance. He drew his sword from his scabbard. But then he thought, my father told me, as he was about to die, 'Don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted. Don't be near-sighted. For vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. It would not be proper.'" Yeah, go ahead. So he put his sword back in its scabbard. A second time, a third time, the thought occurred to Prince Dīghāyu, "This King Brahmadatta of Kāsi has done us great harm. He has seized our troops, vehicles, lands, armories, and granaries, and it was because of him that my mother and father were killed. Now is my chance to wreak vengeance. He drew his sword from his scabbard. But then he thought, my father told me as he was about to die, don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted, for vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. It would not be proper for me to transgress my father's words. So once again he put his sword back in its scabbard. I wonder if he was whispering this. Because next episode will tell you. Then King Brahmadatta suddenly got up, frightened, agitated, unnerved, alarmed. Prince Dīghāyu said to him, Your Majesty, why have you gotten up suddenly, frightened, agitated, unnerved, and alarmed? I say, my young man, just now, as I was dreaming, Prince Dīghāyu, son of Dighīti, king of Kāsi, struck me down with a sword. Then Prince Dīghāyu, grabbing King Brahmadatta by the head with his left hand and drawing his sword from its scabbard with his right, said, I, Your Majesty, am the very Prince Dīghāyu, son of Dighīti, king of Kāsi. You have done us great harm. You have seized our troops, vehicles, lands, armories, and granaries, and it was because of you that my mother and father were killed. Now is my chance to wreak vengeance. So King Brahmadatta, dropping his head down to Prince Dīghāyu's feet, said, Grant me my life, my dear Dīghāyu. Grant me my life, my dear Dīghāyu. Who am I that I would dare grant life to you, Your Majesty? It is Your Majesty who should grant life to me. Why is that? This King Brahmadatta of Varanasi was looking for this man, and if he was caught, he should be killed immediately, right? So, but Dīghāyu now has life of Brahmadatta. So, if he grants life to Brahmadatta, and if Brahmadatta grants life to this prince, the issue is settled, and that's what happens. Buddha is a great storyteller. In that case, my dear Dīghāyu, you grant me life, and I grant you your life. Then King Brahmadatta and Prince Dīghāyu granted one another their lives, and taking one another by the hands, swore an oath to do one another no harm. Then King Brahmadatta said to Prince Dīghāyu, In that case, my dear Dīghāyu, harness the chariot, we will go on. Responding, As you say, Your Majesty, Prince Dīghāyu harnessed the chariot and then said to King Brahmadatta, Your chariot is harnessed, Your Majesty. Now is the time for you to do as you see fit. Then King Brahmadatta mounted the chariot and Prince Dīghāyu drove it. He drove it in such a way that it was not long before they met up with the king's entourage. Then King Brahmadatta, having entered Varanasi, had his ministers and counselors convened and said to them, I say then, if you were to see Prince Dīghāyu, the son of Dighīti, the king of Kāsi, what would you do to him? Different ministers said, We would cut off his hands, Your Majesty. We would cut off his feet, Your Majesty. We would cut off his hands and feet, Your Majesty. We would cut off his ears, Your Majesty. We would cut off his nose, Your Majesty. We would cut off his ears and nose, Your Majesty. We would cut off his head, Your Majesty. See, this was waiting to happen. Then the king said, This I say is Prince Dīghāyu, the son of Dighīti, the king of Kāsi. You are not allowed to do anything to him. It was by him that my life was granted to me, and it was by me that his life was granted to him. Good compromising. Then King Brahmadatta said to Prince Dīghāyu, What your father said to you as he was about to die, don't, my dear Dīghāyu, be far-sighted, don't be near-sighted, for vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. In reference to what did he say that? What my father said to me as he was about to die, don't be far-sighted, don't bear vengeance for a long time, is what he was saying to me as he was about to die. And what he said to me as he was about to die, don't be far-sighted, don't be quick to break with a friend, is what he was saying to me as he was about to die. And what he said to me as he was... Am I repeating in the same place?
Yeah,
for vengeance is not settled through vengeance. Vengeance is settled through non-vengeance. My mother and father were killed by your majesty. If I were to deprive your majesty of life, those who hope for your majesty's well-being would deprive me of life. So, if the king was killed by this man, definitely others will come and find out and he will be killed. And those who hope for my well-being would deprive them of life. So if maybe he had a following too, and they will fight against the troops to save Dīghāyu. And in that way, vengeance would not be settled by vengeance. But now I have been granted my life by your majesty, and your majesty has been granted your life by me. And in this way, my vengeance has been settled by non-vengeance. That is what my father was saying to me as he was about to die. Then King Brahmadatta said, isn't it amazing, isn't it astounding how wise this Prince Dīghāyu is, in that he can understand in full the meaning of what his father said in brief. So he returned his father's troops, vehicles, so they were under him, lands, armories, and granaries, and gave him his daughter in marriage. Hope she was beautiful. That's not a monk thought. Such monks is the forbearance and gentleness of kings who wield the scepter, who wield the sword. So now let your light shine forth, so that you, who have gone forth in such a well-taught dham and discipline, will be their equal in forbearance and gentleness, which means monks can forgive anything and everything, and tolerate anything and anything, and be gentle in every situation. So, yeah, 8:27. 3 minutes for questions. For your children, please teach this story. This is taught to Buddhist kids in Sri Lanka in difficult situations, especially when fights arise. They should think about this.
Good question. In our area, we have Sunday school when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, this story has a good history, I think.
Yeah?
J.R. There was one of the
Presidents?
president. Of course, he was a prime minister or minister at that
Okay.
time. He helped with this speech to stop
Really?
the Japanese, to break the
Civil War?
No, the Japanese and American peace code. Yeah.
He gave a speech here or
No, in the US, in Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles?
He caught these two sentences,
Oh,
and then everybody's applause him. And
I was not expecting this from you. Great.
it is in the YouTube. You just
Okay.
type J.R. Jawardhan speech.
Okay.
At Los Angeles. Yeah.
So,
That quote is very famous because of that.
and maybe, yeah, okay, great. Maybe it stopped them from
Yeah.
making a
Maybe
war,
Peace.
peace speech.
Agree with the peace.
Recently, the Prime Minister of Pakistan went to UN and gave a powerful speech. He's very famous. He was famous as a cricketer, and it was only under his leadership that he brought the cricket team they won the World Cup in 1992, and it is the only time they won. So he's a great leader that way, and he has won hearts of people, and he won the election and he became the Prime Minister. But there is a problem between India and Pakistan nowadays. I think it's in one of the regions, I forgot. It's a famous Kashmir, yes, thank you. So he's telling like that both nations have nuclear weapons, and if anything happens, the damage will affect the neighboring countries as well, like Nepal, also Sri Lanka and whatnot. Nuclear weapons are very, very bad. So I think, although the Buddha was giving this message to monks, and J.R. Jayawardena has quoted this, and I think in many instances when any fight occurs between two parties, to be far-sighted, I think will make you not regret of your actions later. Say you are receiving a phone call and you are not in good mood and you are angry and you respond badly, fight, but you regret it later. You found the story?
Yeah, it's in 1951.
Wow, long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Ah. Yes, yes.
Yeah, if you want to, you can put this if you want to listen to that.
Yeah, how long is the video?
Maybe few minutes, maybe 1 or 2.
It's just 2 minutes. Let's play it.
Were fortunate that we were not invaded, but the damage caused by arose, by the stationing of enormous armies under the Southeast Asia command, and by the slaughter of one of our chief natural commodities, rubber, when we were the only producers of natural rubber for the life, entitled us to ask that the damage so caused should be repaired. We do not intend to do so, for we believe the words of the great teacher, whose message has ennobled the lives and countless millions in Asia, that hatred ceases not by hatred, but by love. Which is the message of the Buddha, the great teacher, the founder of Buddhism, which spread a wave of humanism through South Asia, Burma, Laos, Cambodia, Siam, Indonesia and Ceylon, and also northwards through the Himalayas into Tibet, China and finally Japan, which bound us together for hundreds of years with a common culture and heritage.
So there he said, hatred is not ceased by hatred. So that's the famous, most famous statement. The Pali is nahi verena verani sammanti the kudachanam averena cha sammanti esa dhammo sanantano. Hatred is never ceased by hatred. It's only by non-hatred that hatred is ceased, and it's an eternal law. This is how the Buddha taught that. So it's an eternal law. So two people fighting is meaningless. When there is peace established, you save the good qualities within you and good qualities of them, and I think there is more peace in your mind going forward. Try to teach this story. I hope we had a short version, but ran up to 6 pages, but 3 in printed form. But it's a great story to read. We were reading a lot of deep Dhamma lately, but it's good to switch to some stories too. I was looking for something to teach today, and I thought, okay, what if I pick this one? Any thoughts on this?
Is that a Martin Luther King quote that you just read? Like, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Is that
It's Martin Luther King quoting the Buddha.
quoting the Buddha? Yeah.
Although he does not say that, but it's famous here in the US as a statement by Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
So,
Because I mean, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
But I think any great leader will make such statements. Jesus would do that. So
That is what his policy was. He hate others, right?
Yeah.
was he assassinated?
Yes, sir. He was assassinated.
Too bad. I was shocked recently when I found out that Gandhi also was assassinated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How bad, right? People get killed, great people are killed like that.
My understanding
Yeah?
is that the person that assassinated Gandhi,
Yeah?
before Gandhi fell, he forgave him.
Oh,
As he was
Gandhi did.
Gandhi forgave him
Wow.
immediately. That's what I have heard.
Absolutely.
Has, like with Jesus in the Bible, forgave his killers.
Yeah.
His people that prosecuted him and forgive him.
This is why in Majjhima Nikāya 53, I think, Buddha says in simile of soul, even if bandits were to cut your body into halves using a saw, you still should radiate loving kindness to them because it benefits you, that your destination will be better.
I believe in that. It's hard when somebody do you wrong.
Well,
It's hard.
nobody said it is easy.
That's why a lot of people don't do it.
It is hard. It is hard, but yeah.
But great people will do that.
Yeah. My goodness, it's the hardest thing, but imagine like Buddha making that statement. Even Moggallana, the chief disciple, you see these two statues, that's Moggallana. He had very dark bluish skin. That's why the statue is painted that way. He had the most psychic abilities and he tried to escape death. He was living in a cave and these bandits came to kill him because they wanted that cave. It's a great hiding place apparently. But the third time he gave up. This is a crime I have done in my past life and I cannot escape it. Let them kill me. And he died with loving kindness. Well, death happens, It's an event. It happens to all of us one day, and die with loving kindness. I think that's the message. No matter which way you are facing it. That's very deep. Like loving kindness is a meditation. It brings you to nirvana. One thing that loving kindness does is it brings you to a state called subha, beautiful. Because you start seeing everything as beautiful, and when you can do that, your mind is in a beautiful state. You don't see anyone to hate. You don't see any annoying people in life. Even that thought that someone is annoying does not even secretly lie in you, in your heart. When you, not even privately, you hate some people. Immediately you do some cleansing, and that is great for you. So this was a hard moment to tolerate, absolutely, like you said. His parents are being killed right in front of him. What he went crying and fought against, I think all the three would have been killed. There was no escape. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw recently in the paper that one of the American lady went to, I think she went to Vietnam and she met the soldier he killed her husband, and they took pictures and they are recording.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard. I've seen many things of a parent forgiving the killer of his son. That takes some really, really deep, heavy compassion to give the guy, a person that killed his son, to forgive him. And I mean, it's heavy. Not everybody can do that.
In this case, it was her husband that was killed.
The son is very hard than much
Yeah,
harder than
yeah,
that. I mean,
yeah.
It's difficult.
I've seen news stories. Well, you said that you wouldn't let your children read it, but which?
Used to when we were
6th grade, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think they only
I skip half of it. They went to.
Yeah, it can be, that's why I mentioned in the beginning like this, that this could be,
You can emphasize the fact without making it so descriptive.
no, someone has to say that, and I appreciate your comment. That's why there are,
Even thinking it into this detail,
But I,
no, don't be attached to the story, don't take it as a self, it's not yourself, it's let bygone be bygone.
If you think about it, about forgiveness, though, forgiveness is not for that person. It's for yourself.
Yeah.
It's for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift we give ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me feel better. I mean,
Yeah.
to hold on to all that is not good.
and I think,
That hate. That
and
hate.
yeah, and
By the way, the group here, I know them very well, but I haven't seen you before. Would you mind introducing yourself to us?
Well, it's Douglas, but everybody call me Corky.
Corky?
Corky, yes, sir.
Mhm.
And I come here, and I've been coming here for the last several years. Like you're new,
Okay.
you're new to me.
Yeah, that says I'm new, yes.
You're new to me. But I've been coming here for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
This is my original son.
Okay,
My original son.
okay. So I saw you coming and bowing 3 times, and so
Yes.
you have that. And you live nearby?
Well, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much. But
Okay.
I do like coming to visit when I can.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
a wonderful visit today.
Great.
That's for sure.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, let's transfer merits. That's this page, almost at the end. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired. For the acquisition of all kinds of happiness, may beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.